Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. Ha. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Ha. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. It is getting to be week 10, so we're halfway done with the season. Couple takeaways that we have getting into the halfway mark of the season, and we'll get to those later on. But first of all, Smokey, how are we doing? And importantly, how are our prediction standings?
Oh man, I'm doing good. I'm doing better than Packers fans right now. Man, I would hate to be a Packers fan at this point in time, because the Packers are used to winning. Right now, they are one of the worst teams in the NFL, which is really weird to say because Aaron Rodgers is still there, but they are just that bad. Now, as far as our predictions, we actually tied. We only disagreed on 2 picks last week, and we tied. You got the Chargers versus the Falcons. I picked the Falcons. And I got the Bucks versus Rams because you actually picked the Rams, which was a weird pick. But yeah, 10 total each for us, which brings our overall total to 82 for me and 81 for you.
Okay, I have one comment that I have to give, okay? How many times are the Rams going to do this? Like, this is... Okay, this was a good pick until they decided to play the worst drive of defensive football that's ever grazed the NFL scene. I mean, the last drive from Tampa Bay is ridiculous. Every single play was like a receiver at least 5 yards wide open. That was the worst display of like cowardly prevent defense of all time. They just let them play. They just let them do whatever they wanted. And I know I like to use these metaphors sometimes when I see like people all praising the great Tom Brady for making this drive that only he could make.
Exactly.
Every single pass thrown on that drive, and this is not a metaphor, I mean this. Every single pass I would have completed. Every single one. You got a tight end running wide open in the seam, 10 yards wide open, no one around him. And you have the exact same, like, 10-yard outside comeback route that's 5 yards wide open because the defender is getting 15 yards of cushion right off the bat because they're playing cowardly. And then you have a 3 yards underneath, like, check down to a tight end. That's backyard football. You and I would have completed all 4 of those passes. And you have one that you just throw over the guy's head and he gets a PI.
But with the Tom Brady confirmation bias, obviously,
of course,
they've been using that because, you know, the narrative has been almost since week 1 that Tom Brady is bad. Like, he's finally done it. He's finally fallen off, and he is not playing up to Tom Brady standards. They're using that one drive to say, no, look, Tom Brady is still great. Like, that doesn't make up for almost an entire game's worth of bad play.
It doesn't, and I'll give him that. You know, he executed the drive. It was made very, very easy for him, given that, you know, they played horrible, awful defense, deep cushion prevent defense for no apparent reason at all whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, they executed on the drive. I'll give them that, and they won the game fair and square. But man, if you don't call that defensive drive, my pick is good, and I'm making up points. God damn it! And I was happy. Like I was thinking it really was gonna happen until like after the Falcons actually didn't let me down for once. They lost as they were supposed to. Praise be to Justin Herbert.
Yeah, well, that was a similar situation to every Falcons game so far this season. Well, except for the Bengals, I guess that was kind of a blowout, but yeah, all the games that the Falcons have won or lost, well, except for the 49ers also, I forgot about that, but most of them are really close, you know, 1-score, 3-point games, something like that, and we always lose or win in the very last second, which is...
You're a competitive team.
Yeah.
What more can you ask for, I guess? But not to harp on the Bucks too much. I still am thankful that they won, obviously, because it was against the Rams after all, and I've been looking forward all week to being able to call the Cardinals-Rams Think Tank Bowl when we get there. So when we get there later on in the show, I'm going to call it the Tank Bowl, just warning you right now. But I've been looking forward to that for so long. Let's start off with the MVP rankings. Before I forget it, I wanted to get into your Falcons already, but MVP rankings, a couple of things shuffled around. I still have the first 2 as they always were. Josh Allen 1, Patrick Mahomes number 2. Neither of them had an exceptional weekend. And I'll say this week, the kind of the buffer that they had over the field definitely shrunk down considerably. Josh Allen did not play well at all to his standards, and Patrick Mahomes didn't really have to, but also didn't really put in, like, didn't play phenomenally. Both of them, like, serviceable but not great. So still 1-2 because so far this season has been fantastic, but definitely shrinking down. And back in number 3 and back in the running to me is Tua Tagovailoa. It's like he's never been gone. Listen, the Dolphins are 6-0 when Tua's on the field. They're 3-0 without him. He leads the league in passer rating, and it's not even close. Like, his total passer rating is 116. Next guy's 107. That's a huge difference. You have Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith, Mahomes, Burrow, and Garoppolo are the only other quarterbacks over 100. And he's at 116. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are number 1 and 5 in receiving in the entire league. And it's not like, he's throwing like 3-yard dump-offs and they're making plays with the ball in their hand. Tua's playing out of his mind. And if he was not hurt, he would be the runaway favorite at this point. Because if you scale up his numbers, he's still knocking on 2,000 yards passing. Touchdown interception ratio is 15-3. He's only taken 8 sacks. Like, that's the same as Andy Dalton, who's started 3 games. The Dolphins' offense is formidable. This might be the best offense in the league, all things considered. And Tua's playing, like, he keeps playing like this, and 1 or 2 more slip-ups from Allen Mahomes. Tua, to me, is back in it. He's missed 2 full games and a half. I get it. But to me, like, he's playing lights out better than everyone else. So, to me, he's back. He's back in number 3, and he's knocking on the door. Number 4, Geno Smith. Serviceable performance. I still can't believe he's on the list, but he is still there. Number 5, Jalen Hurts, who's replacing Lamar Jackson in the top 5 for me this week, so 1 step up for him. Lamar Jackson, of course, they both won. I think Lamar Jackson just really didn't have a great performance. He didn't have to, obviously, because the Saints kind of stymied themselves, but to me, Jalen Hurts now replacing Lamar Jackson in the top 5, and then in the hunt, I have Joe Burrow, Lamar, obviously, and Justin Herbert, and it could have been Joe Burrow at 5 as well, but I chose to go Jalen Hurts for the higher passer rating this week. What do you got?
Well, actually, I shook it up a lot because I'm thinking about Allen and how he could be missing games coming up here. And if he does, he's going to drop down these rankings, much like Tua did in the beginning, which doesn't mean it's all over for him. He could always come back at the end of the season and still pull it out. But I'm looking at the greater football public and the analysts of the world and the football media, who are probably putting Hurts right up there at the top now, especially with an unstoppable offense that they have. They're playing bad teams, that's for sure. But Hurts has done nothing to lose that. So if I'm looking at it from the media's perspective, I'm thinking Hurts might be number 1 after this past week. And I still want Allen to win, of course I do. But then Tua is right up there too. I wouldn't be mad if Tua won this award. That would be great. It would be great to see Hurts versus Tua battling it out to the end. The old, that's not the first time that's happened to those 2 guys. And then coming up, in the end, you got Geno and Lamar, which they still have a shot. But right now, I'm conflicted not to put Hurts right up there at the top.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the passer rating is very high. I don't like his overall air production, though he does, of course, add numbers in the running game, which is still the center focal point of the offense. He's only thrown for 12 touchdowns. There's like 10 guys that have thrown more than him, but he does add the element on the ground, so it's completely legitimate. I think after this past week with what Allen and Mahomes have done, the doors open enough for you to realistically put 3, 4, even 5 guys at the very top. So it's up for debate again. I'm curious to see what people have to say in the poll. Actually, go vote on the community page and tell me who your MVP is. In our channel community page, you can pick, cast your vote, and let's see what the people think. Last week it was still very clear, Josh Allen, by the way, even though I thought it was closer with Mahomes having the better game while Allen was on bye week, but still people are riding with Josh Allen. See how it looks this week. That being said, let's get into this schedule. So we have your Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. I wonder what happened last time these teams played.
Oh, man, like I said, it came down to the very end of the game, and yes, we can blame that on Eddie Pinheiro for missing a couple field goals, but we also have to blame it on DJ Moore for taking his helmet off and causing that backup, which, who's to say Eddie Pinheiro might have missed that field goal even from the normal range without being backed up, but it is what it is. The Panthers looked really bad this past week. They could get nothing going. Benching, like we saw Baker back in this one. He actually played better than Walker, but I think I saw a blurb earlier today that said that Walker is intended to be the starter once again, which makes no sense, but I guess these guys may be full-on tank mode, and that's what they're hoping for. With that being said, the Falcons still have a lot to fight for. It's a horrible division, but we are still right there, bottlenecked at the top at 4-5. So I think we could probably pull this off again. I know it's hard to beat a team twice in one season, but I'm gonna be a homer and pick the Falcons on the road.
My Panthers are a mess, aren't they? Got completely blown out again. And as for quarterbacks, it really doesn't matter. You have 3 guys on the roster that could realistically start, and none of them are going to turn this around. And at this point, you might as well experiment. I mean, what do you have to lose? You're not going to come back win the division. It's not going to happen. I mean, you have to win this game. If they want to have any shot, this is the last chance they get. So maybe they'll kind of pull it together. But if after this one, it's over for sure. I'm also going to go Atlanta. Last time was closer than it needed to be, which was more the Falcons playing down to competition and the Panthers really being on the same level, in my opinion. And I think this time we're going to see that more clearly from the start, so Falcons to win. The Seahawks at Tampa Bay. This is an early game. Not in London this time. This one is in Germany.
Yeah. That'll be interesting to see what the crowd participation is there, which I heard these tickets sold out extremely quick, like within minutes of them going on sale. So should be a raucous crowd, man. Maybe you can speak to that a little more. Seahawks look fantabulous, man. They did what I thought they were going to do and walk over the Cardinals on the road in Phoenix, which is even more impressive. That this team headed up by Geno. Geno actually looked bad on one drive there, but he made up for it later in the game. He's looking like he is a legit starting quarterback in this league. I don't know, is it scheme? Whatever it is, the team is winning, and they are winning well over division rivals too. So I would be afraid when they play the 49ers again. The Bucks were bad, like we talked about. They got to win over a very bad Rams team. Like, both of those teams are depleted. And Tom Brady still has a super team. He still has the names around him. They are just not performing. And that could be a symptom of Brady being past his prime also. Maybe this is an upset. I don't know. Depends on how they got it ranked in Vegas there. But I am going to pick the Seahawks on the road to beat the Bucks.
It's kind of ridiculous that Brady's been, by definition, past his prime for 15 years and he's still playing somehow.
Yeah.
But I will say this. So this is obviously the perfect game to be held in Germany. So if you don't know, I've personally lived in Germany for a long time. And football's become popular only over the past, I want to say, 6 to 8 years, when they started actually showing it on German television. And to my great misfortune at the time, it just so happened that Seattle was one of the better teams in the league. And the Denver Superbowl was one of the first widely broadcast games. And so it turns out that the first generation, a broad generation of German football fans are disproportionately Seahawks fans, which is, again, I cannot stress how distraught I am about that fact, but it is certainly true. So that is the perfect team to play in Germany. With that being said, I'm going to make this big. I'm going to go Tampa Bay. Number one, because it's poetic justice for Seattle to lose, because I guarantee you Seattle is going to have the majority of the fans in that stadium. And number two is I really need them to lose, man. I need Seattle to lose. They're 6-3 with Geno Smith. That's not okay. I was thinking the Rams would be a threat. I was thinking maybe Arizona, not Seattle. That's the last team I expected to be a threat to the Niners. So I just need I need Tampa Bay to go win again. They beat the Rams, which was awesome. Now you got to beat Seattle. So I'm just picking with my heart and going Tampa Bay. Vikings at the Bills.
Wow, this is interesting here. The Vikings seem unstoppable at this point. Like, I guess that wasn't as big of a win as you would expect over the Commanders, but they keep winning. No matter what, they just keep winning. That's like 7 games in a row for them, I believe. It's amazing what they're doing, man. That offense just looks unstoppable. And now that they added Hawkinson out there, along with Jefferson and Thielen, like, this team just looks great. They're firing on all cylinders. And the defense is holding up its end. Absolutely is. The Bills are scary this week because I don't know that Allen's going to play. So it's really hard to pick the Bills. If Allen is not starting, I don't even remember who they have for a backup there. I know it's not Justin Fields. Jake Fromm anymore. But either way, if he's not playing, I'm definitely not picking the Bills. So I'm going to assume that's what's happening and take the Vikings to win this one on the road.
All right, I'm going to try to rain on this parade just a little bit. I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills. This is, of course, a barn burner. This is the game of the night, no doubt. And I'm surprised that it's in the early window because this would make a great primetime game. Guess it's hard to do that on the East Coast. But I'll take Buffalo. I'm going to say this is not the kind of team that plays 2 bad games in a row. And I'm going to go with the better quarterback, with the MVP favorite, and with what I overall believe to be the more success-prone team, so to speak. Now, the Vikings are going to go win their division, and it's not going to be close, and they're going to have a nice playoff seed. I think Buffalo is overall still a stronger team that happened to slip up. And they've done it twice now against Miami. I think they did against equal competition than they did against the Jets, who are much better than anyone thought they were, but they're not on the same level. Okay, the Jets are not on the same level as Miami and the Bills, but they're good. This division's tough. The Patriots have a winning record, and they're dead last in the division at the moment. But I'll say Buffalo. I'll say Buffalo wins this one. Hopefully I'm right. That's all I can say. Going from a great game to kind of the opposite, the Lions at the Bears.
Yeah, well, it is. But like I told you last week, Justin Fields is improving with every game. And they almost pulled off that win there. Justin Fields running for 70-yard runs for touchdowns. Like, this is amazing. I think Justin Fields is coming into his own. I was thinking about this earlier, too, that there's these matchups I love to associate quarterbacks with other quarterbacks and how they almost have parallel career arcs and stuff, and that's what's happening with Fields and Lawrence, obviously, Tua and Hurts, Allen, Mahomes, I think this is the ascension for Justin Fields right here. I think this right here starts his winning record also. I could see him going, I need to look at his the rest of the schedule here, but I could see him going on 5-6 game win streak with the Bears here. That offense is starting to fire, and the defense is not that bad. They let up a ton of points, but that's Tua. That's just gonna happen. Then Miami is great. The Lions are still bad, even though they got a win over the Packers. The Packers are horrible. I'm gonna pick the Bears to start winning right here at home.
So I want to disagree with so many of the points you made, but the conclusion that you came to, I really can't. Which means I will pick the Bears, but I will not pick them because I think they're good or anything close to good. I'll pick them because they're playing the Lions. What do you think about Justin Fields? I'd say think again. I need to see more, really. The 5-6 game winning streak, if you're willing to put some monster on that, I'm more than happy to oblige.
Well, I need to look at their schedule first, but yeah.
Yeah, look at the schedule. Let me know what the streak's going to be, how many cans. We probably have a deal. I'll review it, but it sounds like there's a deal there somewhere.
Yeah.
As for Detroit, I mean, listen, the Lions just won a game where they picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times. I know it's wacky Wednesday cartoons or whatever, but they pulled it off in a miraculous fashion. You hold Green Bay to 6 points. They're still not a very good team. Their defense is overall still really bad, even though they had their best game. I'll take the Bears, but this is not a quality game. This is one team sucking less than the other, and Chicago's going to win it at home. But I don't believe in the meteoric rise. They're not going to contend for any sort of divisional victory here, in my opinion. Jaguars at the Chiefs.
Well, they're definitely not going to overtake the Vikings, that's for sure. But I think they're going to continue to get better throughout the rest of the season. And next season, they may actually show you something. Jaguars at the Chiefs. Jaguars are still not great. I mean, they got their win there over the Raiders, who are another very horrible team. At least the Raiders put up some points this time. But that's probably a symptom of how bad the Jaguars defense is. The Chiefs are still one of the best teams in the league, in top 5 in the power rankings, obviously. Wasn't as spectacular showing for the Chiefs, but they got the win in the end. They do what they need to do. The Titans are a good team. They got their win. Mahomes is always going to be able to do whatever he needs to do to get the win. But you couldn't even say that for Allen this week. But anyway, Chiefs at home, gonna win this one easy.
I agree. Yeah, Kansas City, no doubt. Nothing much to say. They're a better team all around. Even though Jacksonville has upside and they show flashes here and there, they're not gonna hold this one. Browns at the Dolphins.
Yeah, this is another one that should be an easy win. The Dolphins are firing on all cylinders. Now, we have seen the Browns get some momentum at certain points in this season, and then they always let it back down in the end. But they have a good offense. That run game is phenomenal, as we all know, and that run game's been phenomenal for a few years now. Chubb is maybe, arguably, the best running back in the league. Dolphins, on the other hand, I love Tua. I love what he's doing. I think this guy is going to be one of the best for quite some time here. And as long as he's got those weapons out on the field, they're unstoppable. Dolphins win this one at home.
So I have a very serious problem with the power rankings here again. I don't know if you've seen them this week, but if you haven't, can you guess where the Dolphins are ranked?
Oh, Lord. Please tell me they're in the top 10.
They are ranked at 12.
No way!
The 6-3 Dolphins, with the most explosive offense in the league, who just traded for Bradley Chubb, who are undefeated with Tua playing, are ranked 12.
What is that reasoning there?
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you if I tried. This offense is as close to unstoppable as it gets in its vertical attack. This is legitimately like the Chiefs offense when Tyreek Hill was there.
Yeah.
It's really every bit that good, and Mike McDaniel is making it run. I don't know. And I have to say, even though, it's my team, the Niners are ranked at 6th, and they're 4-4. Dolphins 6-3, 12.
That makes no sense.
I'm not feeling it. I know the Niners roster is better than their record, but they're ranked ahead of the Vikings too, by the way, who are 7-1. So it's a little bit stark. I don't fully subscribe to this one. As for this game, yeah, Miami wins. Miami wins, and they go into the top 10. This is gonna be one of those games where I believe that this offense can just go off. And honestly, Tua could have another MVP performance. I expect him to at this point, because he's been flat out dominant. Like, he's dominating the quarterback rankings. If he doesn't miss these games, we might not be talking about Allen and Mahomes all that much. We might be thinking Tua is the runaway favorite. Because the touchdowns and the yards would match up, and the pass rating's still the same. And by the way, it's not that like Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are making this quarterback look good. He has a pass. Here's a fun fact, or a fun stat that I saw earlier this week. If we only take his throws to receivers not named Waddle or Hill, tight ends and running backs, his pass rating is 112 total. What does that mean? Literally, you take away Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa still leads the NFL in pass rating this year. Yeah. And then you add those to it, number 1 and 5 receivers in the league. Yeah, the deadly combination. So I don't get why people don't want to see it, but yeah, Miami to keep winning. Texans at the Giants.
Oh man, hopefully they rectify that soon. But Texans are bad. Giants are coming off their bye. I'm hoping they can get back winning again after that bad loss, but they've had time to rest. The Giants, this should be a get-right game. by all accounts, this should be a get-right game. Texans, like I say every week, has one bright spot, and they keep proving it. Dameon Pierce is a great running back, and he should be for quite some time coming up in the next few years. But right now, I'm going to take Daniel Jones and the Giants to get it going and win this one at home.
Yeah, Giants are coming off of a bye week. One loss going into it, and Lord knows it had to be Seattle, of course. But yeah. I'm gonna go. Yeah, you're right. The Giants should. This is not really much of a debate, is it? The Giants have been a pretty decent to good to almost borderline competitive team. Were they not in what is paradoxically the strongest division in football, which used to be the weakest for many years in a row? They'd be playoff bound for sure at this point. They still have to fight for it, but there's a good chance that 3 teams out of the division go in. So Giants with a must-win game, and they're going to take it at home. Saints at the Steelers ? Tank Bowl ?
I'm sure the Saints don't feel like they're tanking. I'm sure the Steelers don't, because they are just that type of team and that type of fan base. They don't feel like they're tanking. No, they probably still have hopes of maybe not winning the division, but still making the playoffs at this point, which I don't know that's going to be possible. Hey, for the Saints, either. Well, actually, no, I can't even say that for the Saints. The division is just that bad. Like, we may have a losing record team win this division. And hopefully that's the Falcons. But either way, I don't think the Saints are going to get it going here with Andy Dalton and Taysom Hill, whatever combination they want to throw out there. Maybe even see Jameis here. But then again, what can I say for Kenny Pickett and the Steelers? Like, that offense is not firing. Anytime they come up against a halfway decent defense, they get completely shut down and held to 3 points or 6 points. If they're lucky, they can pull off another field goal. I want to see Pickens and Pickett get a little chemistry going there and see what happens. And that might be great going into the future. But for right now, I don't know for sure, but I think the Saints will go up there and take one in Pittsburgh.
I think when it comes down to it, you just have the more experienced, big-name playmakers on the Saints offense. You look at Alvin Kamara, for example. He's always good to have that huge take the top off the defense kind of game where he explodes for 3 touchdowns. And it feels like the Steelers traded their only real threat of doing that away with Chase Claypool now being a Chicago Bear. So that it seems like they've more or less already embraced the tank. The Saints maybe not so much. But because of that, I'm going to agree with you. Even though it is in Pittsburgh, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say Saints win it. Yeah, in Pittsburgh. They're going to be 2-7. You're going to have to start thinking about what's going to go on there, because Mike Tomlin has not had a losing season as head coach ever in Pittsburgh, and he's been there for a while. So, some questions to be asked. Broncos at the Titans.
I'm kind of conflicted on this one also. I mean, the Titans went down this past week. They put up a good fight against the Chiefs and, kept it to a really close game. We're actually leading a good portion of that game. Imagine that. It ended up being kind of a defensive struggle there. The Broncos, on the other hand, we know how bad they have been, but I almost feel like Russell was starting to put something together right before that bye week, that they may have some momentum going into this. But I guess all in all, you probably need to lean toward the Vegas odds, which I would imagine, or the favorites here, until we see more out of the Broncos and see if they can actually put something together. I will go with the Titans at home.
Vegas says flip a coin, which is surprising to me, because the Titans just took the Chiefs to overtime and came within like inches of winning that game, which surely would have made them huge favorites.
They love Russell. Vegas loves Russell.
They do love Russell Wilson. I guess they're not going to give it up. But man, the Broncos are ranked 26th in the power rankings, and it feels every bit correct. They trade away their best defensive player. It's just not getting it together. The Titans are a solid team. Like, the Titans are playing well. Like, they didn't look good at the start, but they came back. I mean, they have a winning record. They almost beat the Chiefs. They're a better team than like just a 3-point favorite at home. I'm not buying it. So Tennessee, definitely. I'd even take them against the spread here. Give them Broncos with 3 points on the road. Titans for sure. Colts at the Raiders. Tank Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely a tank bowl. This is bad. Like, did I see that Frank Reich got fired?
Yeah.
He got fired, right?
You called it too. Yeah, you called it.
Yeah. Oh, man. How long before McDaniels gets fired? I guess it's still too early. Chances are he's still going to be there next year. But this is horrible. This team is so bad. With somewhat proven commodities on this team, they can't pull out wins to save their lives. I put out a tweet earlier that said, I have a prediction for 2023 that Bryce Young is actually going to start week 1 for the Raiders, and Derek Carr will start week 1 for the Colts. So here we have it. This is the game that will decide that. I guess as long as Ellinger is playing, I'm not picking the Colts, so I'll take the Raiders at home.
Man, this is a storyline and a half. All right, can I draw your attention back to the summer of 2018 when the Colts, after a lengthy tenure, were ready to present the world their new head of the franchise, their new head coach, Josh McDaniels. And then he retreated like last second to go back to New England to keep playing offensive coordinator for Belichick after the glorious Patriots offense won that Super Bowl against the Rams in dominating fashion, allowing 3 points, which of course the offense played absolutely terribly with defensive win all the way through. And who did the Colts last minute replace McDaniels with, and the head coaching job was of course Frank Reich. Frank Reich gets fired, and guess who they're playing the very next week? Josh McDaniels on the hot seat with the clown team as it is already, the Raiders. So it once again something that no fiction writer could come up with this.
No,
this is a wonderful story. And by the way, who's the Colts head coach in this game? Have you heard that storyline?
No.
Jeff Saturday.
Wow, really? The analyst?
The analyst and former Pro Bowl center of Peyton Manning with the Indianapolis Colts, who, by the way, was not even on an NFL coaching staff.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Like, it's rare that you see a positions coach get elevated to head coach. Like going off from offensive line coach to head coach, it doesn't happen a lot. But going from like straight up the booth to not only being a coach but being a head coach in the middle of the season as a former center, I mean, this is I know that like Jim Irsay is trying to do things differently. Like they're trying to be like alternative, I guess, to other organizations. And of course, Jeff Saturday is a huge players coach. Like he's gonna be a players and fans' favorite, no doubt. But my God, this is a circus. I wonder who's starting actually at quarterback. Is Matt Ryan cleared? Is his first like deed as new head coach going to be to restart Matt Ryan?
You would think.
Is Peyton Manning gonna unretire and just play for them or something?
Bring Luck back.
Bring Andrew Luck back, who's still haunting that franchise. By the way, they are still cursed.
Yeah,
they are still rightfully cursed for wasting the greatest quarterback talent of the 21st century. 100%. But I'm rambling too much about nonsense and the whole circus that this is. Let me take the Colts. I'm taking them. I mean, at this point, like, it's already bizarre world, right? Everything's on its head already. They might as well win. Because the Raiders look lifeless. So, if anything, the Colts have a reason to have some life. Feels like they already have the Band-Aid ripped off because Josh McDaniels not surviving this season. So it might as well be after this game to round out the storyline, right? So I'm going to say the Colts and the ghost of Frank Reich that still lingers in that locker room gets Josh McDaniels fired a week later, and then then we've officially seen everything, and the NFL's over forever. I'll take Indianapolis. Cowboys at the Packers.
Man, like I said at the very beginning, I feel sorry for Packers fans. I mean, I guess you can't feel too bad because they had so many years of dominance and above par play that it's kind of mitigated. But I still feel bad. Like, the team is horrible. Like, just to go from we're 13 wins every season to be in a bottom 5 team. I know that Rodgers can't wait to get this season over at this point. Like, he doesn't expect to win, not with these guys. There's nothing out there. There's no weapons. And now Aaron Jones is going to be out. The only thing he could depend on slightly is gone. At least from all the reports I'm seeing that he should be gone this coming up week. Cowboys surging. We know what they're doing. They're good. They're just good. I hate to see it, but they're good. I'll take the Cowboys on the road.
All right, Dallas wins. Let me just get that out the way first and foremost. Aaron Rodgers must have knew this was coming. So the only thing I'm curious about is what's in Aaron Rodgers' mind. Because clearly he knows how this goes. He's been there for a long time. He knew this was coming. But he's a smart guy. Like, he's not dumb. So did he just lose interest in even trying to carry this team? Is that why he's playing bad? Like, he just resigned himself to just take the money and stick around for as long as his name will keep him there? Because he's just not playing to his level. Of course the team sucks. I've been pounding the table with that for years. Like, as soon as Aaron Rodgers is out the door, they're a bottom 5 team instantaneously because they have a terrible defense, worst special teams unit in the league for many years running. And they're pretty devoid of offensive talent, aside from, a good running back and the occasional receiver that kind of breaks out for no reason, but that's very, very rare. Awful team. And if Rodgers isn't really interested in giving his all anymore because he knows there's no point, they're in for a bad time. But I have no idea, honestly. I can't really explain it. Maybe it's really as cynical of a realistic scenario that he just thought, I'm just gonna take the money and call it quits. Just leave it at that. That may just be what's happening. And if that's the case, man, Packers fans are in for a rude awakening, because it's the entire past generation of Packers fans do not know what it's like to not have an elite quarterback. And not only to have an elite quarterback, but to have your elite quarterback constantly carry awful teams and mask what a terrible team actually looks like. This is not an easy process to rebuild. If you have a functioning team and you lose a quarterback, you'll recover relatively quickly. New England's still winning. The Steelers, they're gonna win in a year or two. They'll be fine. This is something else. This is different. This is gonna be bad. But with all that being said, just looking towards next week, Dallas wins, and then we'll talk about that again. Cardinals at the Rams. We have a tank bowl.
You want this one to be a tank bowl, don't you?
I really do.
Nothing makes you happier than looking at this match and saying, tank bowl, yes!
Nothing.
Well, I guess this comes down to who's going to suck more. And right now, that team, the Rams team, they sold out for a few years in a row just to try to get those championships. And they made it to the Super Bowl once, and then they came back and they won the Super Bowl. So it worked in the end, but here we are seeing the other end of those deals. This team is depleted. They're using practice squad guys on the lines. It's not holding up. They can't even beat a team that's in shambles like the Bucks last week. That was a horrible game. It wasn't even worth watching. That game was so bad. The Cardinals, on the other hand, are in shambles also, but I guess they really do have more core fundamental guys that are holding up at this point. I guess that's the only way I can state that, is that they don't quite suck as bad as the Rams at this point. And I guess I'll take Kyler and Hopkins and them to put something together here and win one on the road.
Wow. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go with my tried and trusted method of just disagreeing with your pick, because this is in fact a pick'em. This is a coin flip according to the bookmakers. So, and since I want to make up points on you in our prediction game, this is my time to pick the Rams. Only thing I have to do now is come up with an argument for why.
How'd that work last week?
As easy. Which is not as easy as you think. Well, last week they played terrible defense. Here's my argument, right? Cooper Kupp's going to have a career day. Ooh. There it is. The Cardinals' weakness is their secondary. Cooper Kupp's going to torch them. 180 yards, 2 tutties. There you go. Rams win, 17-10. There it is. There you go.
Sounds like sounds like a barn burner of a game there.
Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic. Nothing better to say. Yeah, that late window is not shaping up to be very all that interesting.
Yeah.
But primetime, we have a good one. We have the Chargers and the Niners.
What are the Niners right now? 4-4.
They're 4-4.
Yeah, and the
that first 4 is bigger than the second 4 by a lot.
You know, just looking at the association and common opponents here, you kind of want to pick the Chargers, right? Because look at what the Falcons did to the 49ers and then what the Chargers pulled off against the Falcons. But I don't know. I like to think that coming out of the bye that the Niners are going to continue to progress. I mean, it's hard to say because they've been up and down. It's more like a roller coaster than an incline at this point. Chargers maybe putting something together after that. That was kind of a get-right game, but they still struggled through most of the game. So, with all that in consideration, I think I'll take the 49ers at home to win this one.
So, with all due respect, and I believe the Falcons are a solid team, they played like the entire backup squad pretty much, especially on defense. True. For the Niners. Now, I'm not going to make excuses because the Niners lost some abominations this year. They're 4-4. They should be 7-1. There's one game that was excusable to lose. That was the Chiefs. Yeah, when Patrick Mahomes puts 44 points up, yeah, it's permissible to lose. No worries. It's fine. It's forgiven. But the other games you lost, Atlanta, which your whole defense was hurt, but still you should have won because you played down to a team that is at least slightly worse than you. And the other two are the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears. Now, those retroactively, of course, are games that you cannot lose under like any circumstance. And you played terrible offense in both of those games. They scored barely 10 points. So those are not excusable. So they have a tendency to lose duds. But I'm going to say this. They're coming off a bye week. This defense is going to be nearly back at full health. And whenever they were, earlier on in the season, they were the best / second best, tied with Tampa Bay defense in the entire NFL. Now, of course, Philadelphia also now is kind of in that conversation. But I think the Niners are still very much sort of on that level. And add Christian McCaffrey to that offense now, you're running out a top 3 running back, a top 3 tight end, a top 3 receiver, the best running receiver, and the best receiving running back. By the way, the defense still only has 11 guys to cover all of that. This team has to be like a contender, right? Just judging from their names. And with all of that, by the way, the defense is still better than the offense. This team's much better than its record, but they got to start proving it soon. And this is a time to do it because Justin Herbert's a phenomenal quarterback. The Chargers are dangerous. They have a strong offense. They have a good pass rush. But I'm going to take the Niners. I will agree with you. I'm going to say they get it done in prime time at home. But it'll be a good one. It's going to be a great game to watch, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good competition. And then finally, we have the Washington at the Philadelphia Eagles. Still undefeated Eagles.
Yeah, exactly. And looking at this on the surface, you're going to say the Eagles are going to be 9-0. Like, there's no way around it. This is Washington. But the Commanders have put up fights with Taylor Heineke. And actually, they got a couple wins before Wentz went out. But they have been in these games. Like, it's inexplicable. They have been in these games and won like 4 in a row or whatever it was. They had a win streak going there. It doesn't make sense, but Heineke does have a good chemistry with McLaurin out there. So that's good to see. I'm trying to figure out why this is going to be a close game. It really shouldn't be on paper. The Eagles are just that much more dominant, and they are explosive on offense, and their run game is inevitable. But I think this is going to be a close game. I think this is going to come down to maybe 3 to 7 point win right here for whichever team does it, because I'm not dead set that the Eagles will. But I have to go with the favorites here, and you can't count out a team that hasn't lost yet, so I'll take the Eagles at home.
Yeah, agree. I'm going to take Philly. I will say this, though. This is one of the games that are a lot more interesting to pick against the spread. Because you say you're going to give them 3, you're going to give them 7. How about 11 points?
Wow,
which is
really?
what the bookmakers are giving the Eagles.
I don't think it's going to be. I would go with the under there.
You'd go plus 11 Washington. Yeah, I can see
absolutely.
that. I can really see it. I'll say this, though. Taylor Heineke hasn't played this caliber defense yet.
True.
He hasn't played this caliber defense yet. And also an offense that will limit his possessions more than any other. Because they run the ball. They win time possession. They'll give you... If they have a good day, you'll get 8 or 9 possessions. Maybe just 8 in a single game. That's not a lot. That's 2 possessions a quarter. And when you play a top 3 defense, you score, a touchdown like 10, 15% of the time? Yeah, it's going to be hard to win because to beat this team, you got to score 17. You better score 21 if you want to beat the Eagles. And so I can see why very much, they're the favorites. Against the spread, it could be a closer one. It is an island game. It is that, you got the late night, you got prime time. It's a divisional game. All the factors for like a surprising, maybe not upset, but a surprisingly close game are there. But then again, you can't pick a team that's won all their games and who are deservedly number 1 in the power rankings at this point, by the way, having overtaken Buffalo. I know they have one of the easiest schedules in the league, but even the easiest NFL schedule is hard to win out. So if they keep doing it, they gotta give them their respect. I'm gonna say they go and beat Washington. This would though be the team to upset them.
Yeah.
For the storylines, this would definitely be it.
Yeah.
Because the Cowboys and the Giants, even though they're better than Washington, I don't know. This seems like the right moment for it to happen, but we'll see. Maybe the miracle season continues. Who knows? But I'm going Eagles as well. So we have a couple disagreements this time. What if I count 2, 3, or 4 or something like that?
It
Not
is
sure exactly.
1, 2, 3, 3.
3. Okay, cool. So yeah, like I have the Colts. I have the Rams. And what was the other one?
The Vikings, Bills. You have the Bills.
Did you pick Tampa?
I picked the Seahawks. You picked Tampa, actually.
So
that's
another
4.
one.
Yeah,
there we go.
I
4
was
disagreements.
confused because
Okay.
I actually changed my pick on a couple of them while we were doing it. But yeah. So I have the Seahawks. You have the Bucks. I have the Vikings. You have the Bills. I have the Colts. I have the Raiders. You have the Colts.
I have the Colts.
Yes. And I have the Cardinals. You have the Rams.
All right. This is action week. 4 disagreements. Definitely action week. Something's gonna happen. I have a feeling.
Yeah, I think so. I think there could be a lot of upsets this week.
Yeah, I get it. I'm taking a risk with some of these, especially the Colts. That's leaning pretty far out there.
Yeah, I mean, they may get that 2-game bump. You never know. I mean, you
never know.
Bring in Jeff Saturday. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
If anyone, it's Jeff Saturday who can do it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
By the way, just to mention them, we have the Ravens, Bengals, Patriots, and Jets on the bye. So actually, quite a couple of pretty, all of those winning teams on bye week. All of them on bye. So we're going to be missing a couple.
So you see the bye of week 14, man.
Week 14?
Yes.
No, you have me curious. I'm gonna.
Yeah, bring it up, man. It's horrible.
Oh my god. Oh, this is rough.
Week 14. Now, it has been extended in a lot of fantasy leagues because we added 1 extra game last year. So, traditionally, this is game 1 of your playoff right here, and it may still be in your league. So, y'all might want to look into that because it's gonna be horrible. 6-team
bye week, and all of the teams suck too. Well, the Falcons don't.
But there's a lot of usable fantasy assets in there.
Yes, yeah, that is true. But a lot of bad teams on bye week.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that when we get to week 14. Speaking of fantasy, of course, can you give us a quick outlook on what you're going to be covering in the Hurry Up Offense, your fantasy podcast this week?
Yep. This week's topic is about trends and cycles, to be exact. We're going to be looking at them and why I go with trends and cycles over analytics-driven philosophy in fantasy football.
I like that that's the topic every single year, which is
Yes.
the nature of cycles, because they're cyclical.
Yep.
So it applies every year, and you're collecting more and more data, which is good to see. So any fantasy players, you definitely have to check out the Hurry Up Offense coming up tomorrow, uploaded after this podcast on this channel. So make sure to subscribe if you're interested in, and go check that out. It's free professional fantasy football advice in what used to be 10 minutes or less, but I've kind of noticed it's creeping up to be 15 minutes or less. So maybe you want to rebrand it at some point. These videos have been getting longer every time you're sending me the files.
I know. I try. I really do want to keep it in 10 minutes, but I just get carried away sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough. So be sure to subscribe, check that out, and do you have anything to add for these predictions?
I think that's it for this week.
All right, I want to thank everybody for watching. Let us know your picks. Go to the channel community page and vote for your favorite to win MVP if the season ends today. And we're going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard. Ha. Check.